The large screen in Earth's United Space Command Center showed hundreds of alien faces, each wearing expressions that ranged from mild amusement to open mockery. Humans had just announced their breakthrough in seventh-dimensional travel, and the Galactic Council wasn't taking it well. Captain James Walker stood straight-backed before the communication screen, his weathered face remaining calm despite the growing laughter from the alien representatives. At 52, he had seen enough in his career to know when others were making a terrible mistake in judgment. A seventh-dimensional drive system. The blue-skinned council leader's voice dripped with sarcasm. "Tell me, Captain Walker, did your species master fourth-dimensional engineering while we weren't looking? Or perhaps you jumped straight from your primitive fusion engines to breaking through the dimensional barriers?" More laughter filled the channel. Walker glanced at Dr. Anna Reed, who stood quietly beside him. Her gray eyes remained focused on her data tablet, seemingly lost in calculations that few in the galaxy could understand. "We understand your skepticism," Walker said, keeping his voice level. "But Earth's scientific division has made a breakthrough. We're prepared to demonstrate." "Demonstrate?" interrupted another council member, this one with crystalline features that sparkled under the council chamber's lights. "Your species barely managed reliable Mars colonies 30 years ago. Now you expect us to believe you've mastered dimensional engineering that even the Stellar Coalition hasn't perfected." In the back of the room, Commander Robert Stone clenched his fists. Walker could hear his tactical officer's teeth grinding from 3 meters away. Stone had always been protective of humanity's achievements, and this mockery was testing his patience. The council leader raised a hand, silencing the chorus of laughs. "Captain Walker, we appreciate Earth's enthusiasm, but perhaps you should focus on developing your lunar tourism industry. Leave the advanced physics to species that have been traveling the stars since your ancestors were discovering fire." The transmission cut off, leaving the room in heavy silence. Dr. Reed finally looked up from her tablet. "They really have no idea, do they?" A small smile played at the corners of her mouth. "Shall we proceed with the launch preparations, Captain?" Walker nodded, turning to face the large window that overlooked the massive orbital shipyard. There, floating in Earth's orbit, was the culmination of 15 years of secret research and development. The Quantum Dawn hung in space like a silver arrow, its hull gleaming under the orbital lights. "Commander Stone, begin crew transfer." "Dr. Reed, double-check all drive systems. They may be laughing now, but in 72 hours, we'll show them exactly what humanity is capable of." The next 2 days were a blur of activity. Crew members boarded in small groups, maintaining the illusion of routine maintenance to any watching alien vessels. Dr. Gray, the ship's engineer, ran constant checks on the experimental drive system, his team working in shifts to ensure every component was perfect. Walker stood in his quarters, looking at a photo of his daughter. She was graduating from the Space Academy next year, and he had promised to be there. The captain smiled, knowing that by then, humanity's place in the galaxy would be very different. "Captain, to the bridge," the ship's computer announced. "Final launch preparations are commencing." Walker made his way through the pristine corridors of the Quantum Dawn. Crew members nodded respectfully as he passed, each carrying the weight of humanity's future in their determined expressions. When he reached the bridge, he found his command staff ready at their stations. "Status report," he ordered, settling into the captain's chair. "All systems green," Dr. Gray reported from engineering. "The 7D drive is humming like a dream." "Crew is secured and ready," Stone added from tactical. "No unusual activity from the alien vessels in orbit." Dr. Reed looked up from the science station, her eyes bright with anticipation. "The dimensional matrices are stable, Captain. We're ready to make history." Walker allowed himself a small smile. Let them laugh, he thought. In a few hours, the galaxy would learn that humanity's primitive understanding of physics was anything but simple. "Begin launch sequence," he commanded. "Let's show the galaxy what happens when they underestimate the human race." As the Quantum Dawn's engines powered up, none of the alien observers noticed anything unusual. To them, it looked like another routine human ship launch. They would soon learn just how wrong they were. The main conference room of the Quantum Dawn hummed with nervous energy as Dr. Reed stood before the holographic display. The entire senior crew watched as complex equations floated in the air, glowing with a soft blue light. "What you're looking at," Dr. Reed said, pointing to the central formula, "is the key to everything we thought impossible." Her fingers moved through the hologram, expanding one section of the equations. 10 years ago, I found something strange while studying space debris from a destroyed alien ship. Captain Walker leaned forward in his chair. Even after all the briefings, the theory still amazed him. "Tell them what you found, Doctor." "The aliens have been lying to us." Reed's voice hardened. "All those times they said humans didn't understand basic physics. They were hiding the truth. Their ships weren't just using three-dimensional space. They were barely touching the fourth dimension, what we call time." Commander Stone raised his hand. "But we've known about the fourth dimension for centuries. Einstein talked about space-time." "Knowing about it and using it are different things," Reed replied. She pulled up a new image showing what looked like a tangled ball of string. "This is what our reality actually looks like. Not 4 dimensions, not 5, but 11 different dimensions all wrapped together." The crew stared at the image, trying to make sense of it. Dr. Gray, the engineer, scratched his head. "So what makes our drive different from their technology?" Reed smiled. "The aliens never figured out how to access anything beyond the 6th dimension. They tried, but they were thinking about it wrong. They treated dimensions like layers of a cake, each one stacked on top of the other." She waved her hand, and the hologram changed to show the Quantum Dawn's drive system. "We humans did something different. We thought about dimensions like water flowing through pipes. Instead of trying to break through each layer, we found ways to let the dimensional energy flow naturally." In simple terms, Walker added, seeing some confused faces, "We're not forcing our way through dimensions. We're swimming with the current." "Exactly." Reed nodded. "The aliens laugh because they think we're lying about reaching the 7th dimension. They don't realize we've actually accessed all 11. We just focus on the 7th because it's the most stable for travel." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. They weren't just ahead of alien technology. They had completely bypassed it. "Show them the simulation," Walker suggested. Reed pressed a few buttons on her tablet. The hologram changed to show 2 ships. One alien, one human. "Watch what happens when both ships try to travel faster than light." The alien ship stretched and distorted, fighting against the fabric of space. The human ship simply slipped away, like a leaf carried by a stream. "The difference is efficiency," Reed explained. "Alien ships burn massive amounts of energy pushing through dimensional barriers. Our ship flows through natural dimensional currents, using less power than their ships need just to start up." "But why didn't they figure this out?" Stone asked. "They've had thousands of years more experience than us." "Because they stopped looking," Walker answered. "They thought they knew everything. They got comfortable. Humans, we never stop asking questions." Reed touched another control, and the hologram showed Earth. "There's something else you need to know." Her face grew serious. "When we activate the drive at full power, we're not just traveling through space. We're bending reality itself." The crew shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Dr. Gray spoke up. "Is it safe?" "Safe? Yes, but powerful beyond anything we expected." Reed looked each crew member in the eye. "The aliens don't just think we're lying. They're afraid we might be telling the truth. Because if we are, everything they know about physics is wrong." Walker stood up, his presence commanding attention. "In 6 hours, we'll make our first jump. What happens next will change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. Any doubts? Any concerns? Speak now." The room remained quiet, but the silence was filled with determination rather than fear. "Good," Walker said. "Dr. Reed, begin final drive preparations. The rest of you, to your stations. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when you bet against human ingenuity. As the crew filed out, Reed stayed behind, staring at the hologram of their ship. Soon, theory would become reality, and the laughter of the Galactic Council would turn to astonishment. Humanity's moment was about to begin. The bridge of the Quantum Dawn fell silent as Captain Walker sat in his command chair. Red warning lights flashed on Commander Stone's tactical display. 3 alien warships had just appeared near Earth's orbit. "They're hailing us," Stone reported, his fingers hovering over the controls. Walker straightened his uniform. On screen, the alien commander's face filled the main view screen. Its metallic scales gleamed under harsh ship lighting. "Human vessel, power down your engines immediately. Your experimental drive system has not been approved by the Galactic Council." Dr. Reed, working at her station, didn't even look up. "Drive charging at 15%, Captain." "This is Captain Walker of the Earth ship Quantum Dawn. We're conducting the scheduled test flight. Your vessels are interfering with Earth space operations." The alien commander's scales flickered with amusement. "Test flight. Our sensors detect energy readings that violate 6 different Galactic Council safety protocols. Power down now, or we will be forced to take action." 30% charge, Reed announced calmly. Walker smiled slightly. "Commander, I suggest you move your ships. We wouldn't want you to get caught in our wake." "You dare threaten?" The alien's voice cut off as Walker signaled Stone to end transmission. 3 warships moving into attack formation, Stone reported. "They're charging weapons." 45%. Dr. Gray's voice came over the intercom from engineering. "Captain, the dimensional flows are aligning perfectly. It's even better than our simulations predicted." The first alien shot flew past the Quantum Dawn's bow. A warning shot. Walker remained calm. "Time to intercept." 2 minutes before they're in optimal firing range, Stone answered. "We should probably." 60%. The ship shuddered as the alien vessels fired their engines, moving closer. On the tactical display, more ships appeared at the edge of the solar system. "They're calling for reinforcements," Stone said. 5 more warships just jumped in. 75%. Walker pressed his comm button. "All hands, secure for dimensional transition. This might get interesting." The alien ships were nearly in position now. Their weapons glowed, ready to fire. The Council wasn't taking any chances with Earth's new technology. 90%. Captain. Dr. Reed finally looked up from her station, her eyes wide with excitement. "Something's happening. The dimensional currents. They're responding to our drive. It's like they're reaching out to us." The ship shook as the first real shots from the alien vessels struck their shields. Alarms blared. "Shields at 85%, Stone reported. "We can't take much more of this." 95%. Walker gripped his chair arms. "Dr. Reed, can we jump?" "Not yet. We need full power for the first transition." 97%. 98%. More shots rocked the ship. Warning lights flashed across every console. "Shields failing," Stone shouted. "They're targeting our engine core." 99%. The alien commander's face appeared on screen again, his scales now dark with anger. "Power down or be destroyed. You cannot." 100%. Reed's fingers flew across her console. "Dimensional drive, engaging no." The universe seemed to hold its breath. For one moment, everything stopped. The weapons fire, the alarms, even the light itself seemed to pause. Then reality twisted. The Quantum Dawn didn't just move. It flowed. Space itself parted around them like water around a stone. The alien ships, their weapons, even their sensor beams slid past them, as if they existed in completely different realities. Through the main viewport, the crew watched in awe as normal space peeled away. Colors they had no names for danced across the hull. Stars stretched and swirled, not like the normal streams of faster-than-light travel, but like paintings being stirred into new forms. "My God," Stone whispered. It actually works. Dr. Reed's voice shook with emotion. All systems functioning perfectly. We're surfing the seventh dimensional current. And Captain, we're only using 10% of the drive's total power. Walker stood up, watching as the angry alien fleet shrank into the distance, their weapons useless against a ship that was barely touching normal space anymore. Send one last message to the alien ships, he ordered. Tell them, thank you for the warm send-off. Humanity will be sure to remember your hospitality. As the quantum dawn sailed through dimensions no alien race had ever mastered, the laughter of the Galactic Council seemed very, very far away. Humanity's journey to the stars had truly begun, and nothing would ever be the same again. The grand chamber of the Stellar Coalition's High Council erupted in chaos. Hundreds of alien representatives shouted over each other as the latest sensor data played on the massive screens around them. Impossible. They'd broken every law of physics. The humans must be contained. How did they achieve this level of technology? The council leader, whose blue skin had turned almost white with shock, raised all four of his hands for silence. Show the recording again, he commanded. The screens display the quantum dawn's departure once more. The human ship didn't just disappear like normal faster-than-light travel. Instead, it seemed to exist in multiple places at once before choosing which reality it preferred. Meanwhile, aboard the Quantum Dawn, Dr. Reed stared at her readings with growing amazement. Captain, she called out, you need to see this. Walker moved from his command chair to her station. The screen showed energy patterns he had never seen before. Explain. Remember how I said we were using dimensional currents like water in pipes? Reed pointed to several flowing lines on her display. Well, we just discovered the ocean. Commander Stone joined them, frowning at the complex data. What does that mean in simple terms? Reed's eyes sparkled with excitement. The seventh dimension isn't just a layer of space-time. It's a gateway. When we activated our drive, we didn't just travel through it. We opened doors that no one knew existed. Captain, Dr. Gray's voice came through the intercom. The drive is doing something strange. But not bad strange. It's like it's optimizing itself. Walker looked at Reed. Is this safe? More than safe, she replied. The drive isn't just working. It's teaching us. Every second we spend here, we learn more about reality than the aliens have learned in thousands of years. Back in the Coalition Council chamber, a scientific advisor displayed new calculations. The humans aren't using brute force to move through dimensions like our ships do. They're what? The council leader demanded. They're dancing, the advisor said quietly. While we've been trying to break down dimensional walls, they found the doors. And the doors, they're opening for them. On the Quantum Dawn, the crew watched in awe as Dr. Reed demonstrated their ship's new capabilities. With the slightest touch of power, they could shift between dimensional states as easily as walking through rooms. Look at this, Reed said, bringing up a new display. We can exist in multiple dimensional states at once. That's why their weapons couldn't hurt us. We were literally in a different reality when their shots hit. Walker studied the readings. Can they track us? They can't even see us properly, Stone answered from Tactical. Their sensors are designed to detect ships moving through normal space or basic FTL. We're doing something completely different. Dr. Gray's voice came through again. Captain, I found something else. The drive isn't just moving us through space. Well, you should come to engineering. Minutes later, the senior staff gathered around the drive core. Instead of the harsh mechanical glow they expected, it pulsed with a soft, almost living light. It's alive, Stone asked. Not exactly, Gray explained, but it's adapting, learning. Every second we run it, it gets more efficient. The aliens built their drives to force their way through space. We built ours to work with natural dimensional energy, and that energy, it's responding to us. Reed nodded. The aliens are probably panicking right now. Everything they thought they knew about dimensional physics just got proven wrong. And the really interesting part, I don't think we've even scratched the surface of what this technology can do. Back in the council chamber, the mood had shifted from anger to fear. We must stop them, one representative insisted. The council leader shook his head. Stop them. We can't even find them. They've achieved something we thought impossible. He paused, looking at the recording again. And they did it because we laughed at them. Because we thought we knew everything. On the Quantum Dawn, Captain Walker made a decision. Dr. Reed, take us deeper into the dimensional currents. Let's see what this ship can really do. As the ship shifted into even higher dimensional states, the crew felt a sense of destiny. Humanity hadn't just caught up to alien technology. They had surpassed it in ways no one had imagined possible. The laughter had stopped, and the galaxy would never be the same. Red alert warnings flashed across the Quantum Dawn's bridge as Commander Stone's tactical display lit up with new contacts. Captain, 30 alien warships just appeared. It's their entire advanced fleet. Captain Walker stood from his chair, watching as the massive vessels emerged from hyperspace. Each ship was at least 10 times larger than the Quantum Dawn, their hulls gleaming with advanced weapon systems. They found us, Walker said calmly. Dr. Reed, status of our drive. Reed's fingers danced across her console. Fully operational, Captain. And she paused, double-checking her readings. The dimensional currents around us are getting stronger. It's like they're responding to the threat. The main screen flickered to life, showing the face of the advanced fleet's admiral. Unlike the previous alien commanders, this one showed no sign of amusement or mockery. Its crystalline features were set in grim determination. Human vessel, the admiral's voice boomed. You have violated the natural laws of space-time. Your dimensional experiments end now. Surrender your ship and all research data, or we will be forced to destroy you. Walker straightened his uniform. Admiral, your fleet is impressive, but I suggest you check your sensor readings very carefully before making threats. The alien leader's crystal face flickered with colors, a sign of confusion. On his own screens, the Quantum Dawn was displaying impossible readings, existing in multiple dimensional states simultaneously. Dr. Gray, Walker called to engineering. Is the drive ready for what we discussed? Ready, Captain, Gray responded. But we've never tested this level of dimensional shift. The simulations suggest. The time for simulations is over. Walker nodded to Reed. Show them what we can do. Reed activated the enhanced drive systems. The Quantum Dawn's hull began to shimmer, not just bending light, but bending reality itself. To the alien fleet's sensors, the ship seemed to multiply, existing in 7 different dimensions at once. Impossible. The admiral's voice shook. All ships, open fire. Destroy that vessel before. Energy beams from 30 ships converged on the Quantum Dawn's position. The crew braced for impact, but Commander Stone just smiled as he watched his tactical display. Direct hits, he reported, all passing through us harmlessly. We're partially phased into the 8th dimension now. Their weapons literally can't touch us. The alien fleet's second volley was even more impressive, filling space with enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The Quantum Dawn's dimensional shifting made the attacks meaningless, like trying to shoot a shadow. Their weapons are useless, Stone reported. But Captain, ours aren't. Walker raised an eyebrow. Explain. Reed spoke up from her station. We can phase part of the ship back into their dimensional plane, just enough to let our weapons connect. They can't hit us, but we can hit them. No, Walker decided. We're not here to start a war. He opened a channel to the alien fleet. Admiral, observe carefully. Walker nodded to Reed, who activated their latest discovery. The Quantum Dawn began to glow with impossible colors as it accessed even higher dimensions. Space itself seemed to bend around them, creating a ripple effect that spread outward. The alien fleet's weapons suddenly powered down. Their engines sputtered and stopped. 30 of the most powerful ships in the galaxy hung helpless in space. What have you done? The Admiral's voice was barely a whisper. "We've shifted the dimensional frequency of this entire sector," Reed explained, unable to hide her pride. "Your ships are fine, but they're temporarily out of sync with their own power sources, a simple demonstration of what we could do if forced." Walker stepped forward. "Admiral, humanity doesn't want war. We don't even want revenge for your mockery. What we want is respect and a seat at the galactic table, as equals." The Admiral's crystalline face shifted through a rainbow of colors before settling on a deep blue of resignation. "The Council, they will need to be informed. This changes everything." "Yes," Walker agreed. "It does." He turned to his crew. "Dr. Reed, restore power to their ships. Commander Stone, stand down from battle stations." As the alien fleet regained power, their formation changed from attack positions to a respectful distance. The laughter that had once greeted humanity's claims was replaced by a heavy silence, filled with new understanding. Humanity hadn't just proven their technology worked, they had demonstrated wisdom in how they used it. And that, perhaps, was even more frightening to the galaxy than the technology itself. Dr. Reed stared at her lab screens aboard the Quantum Dawn, her face lit by the soft glow of dimensional energy readings. What she saw there made her hands shake slightly. "Captain," she called through the intercom, "please come to the science lab. And bring the senior staff." Minutes later, Captain Walker, Commander Stone, and Dr. Gray gathered around Reed's main display. The screen showed something that looked like a living web of light, pulsing with energy. "What are we looking at?" Walker asked quietly. Reed took a deep breath. "The truth, and it's bigger than anything we imagined." She pointed to the swirling patterns. "This isn't just a drive system anymore. We didn't just create an engine. We accidentally built a key that unlocks the basic structure of reality." Dr. Gray leaned closer to the screen. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" "Our dimensional drive doesn't just move through space," Reed explained. "It can reshape it. The reason the alien weapons couldn't hurt us wasn't just because we were shifting between dimensions. It's because we could change the rules of how those dimensions work." Stone crossed his arms. "In simple terms, please." "We can rewrite the laws of physics," Reed said flatly. "At least in a small area around the ship. That's why the aliens were so afraid. That's why they tried to stop us. They knew this was possible, but they could never make it work." Walker sat down heavily in a nearby chair. "Why us? Why did it work for humans when it failed for them?" "Because they tried to control it," Reed said, bringing up new diagrams. "Look at their ship designs. Every system is about forcing reality to do what they want. But we did something different. We tried to understand it first. To work with it, not against it." The lab doors opened as a message from Earth came through. On the screen, the United Earth Council appeared, along with representatives from the Galactic Coalition. Captain Walker, the Earth Council leader, spoke first. "We've been discussing the implications of your mission with our galactic neighbors. Dr. Reed, your latest findings have caused quite a stir." The Alien Council leader, his blue skin now a respectful shade of deep azure, spoke next. We owe humanity an apology and an explanation." Reed stepped forward. "You knew this was possible. You knew about the true nature of dimensional engineering." "Yes," the alien leader admitted. "For 10,000 years, we tried to master it. Every advanced race did, but it always failed. The power was too great, too unpredictable. We thought no species could handle it safely." Walker stood beside Reed. "But you were wrong about humans. Spectacularly wrong," the alien leader agreed. "Where we tried to command reality, you tried to understand it. Where we saw forces to be controlled, you saw patterns to be studied. Your drive system isn't just a technological achievement, it's a philosophical one." Dr. Gray spoke up from his engineering station. "The drive, it's still changing, still teaching us. Every day we learn something new. That's what terrifies them," Stone realized. "Not just what we can do now, but what we might learn to do in the future. The Earth Council leader cleared his throat. Which brings us to the important question. What do we do with this power? Reed looked at her readings again, watching the beautiful dance of dimensional energies. We learn, she said simply. We study. We understand. And most importantly, we share what we learn. Share. The alien leader's skin flickered in surprise. Yes, Walker agreed, understanding Reed's point. The galaxy laughed at us because they thought we were primitive. Let's prove them wrong, not just with our technology, but with our wisdom. The lab fell quiet as everyone considered the implications. Humanity hadn't just created a new way to travel through space. They had opened a door to understanding the universe itself. The question was never if we could handle this power, Reed said softly. The question was always what we would choose to do with it. And I think we just answered that question. As the quantum dawn floated in space, its drive pulsing with the heartbeat of reality itself, the age of human isolation came to an end. The galaxy had stopped laughing, but more importantly, they had started listening. The real journey was just beginning. 1 month after the quantum dawn's historic flight, the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council looked very different. Where alien representatives had once laughed at humans, they now sat in respectful attention. Captain Walker stood at the central podium, with Dr. Reed and his senior staff beside him. The human dimensional drive changes everything, the council leader announced, his blue skin glowing with formal patterns. But more important is what humanity chose to do with this power. Walker nodded, looking out at the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds. When we first broke through the dimensional barriers, we had a choice. We could have used this technology to dominate, to take revenge for years of mockery. Instead, we chose a different path. Dr. Reed stepped forward, activating a holographic display that filled the chamber. It showed the quantum dawn's drive system, but now modified and simplified. We've spent the last month creating teaching modules, she explained. Basic dimensional engineering that any species can understand. We're not sharing our most advanced discoveries yet. That would be dangerous. But we are sharing enough for everyone to begin their own journey of understanding. Commander Stone, standing at attention, remembered how some military leaders back on Earth had wanted to keep everything secret. They had argued for using the technology to make humanity the dominant force in the galaxy, but wiser heads had prevailed. The first joint human-alien research team begins work next week, Walker continued. Scientists from 20 different species working together to understand the dimensional currents. Dr. Gray will lead the engineering division. Dr. Gray smiled from his position near the back. The alien engineers who had once dismissed human technology now eagerly sought his advice. But with great power comes great responsibility, the council leader added, which is why we have accepted humanity's proposed guidelines for dimensional engineering. Reed brought up another display, showing the simple but firm rules humanity had suggested. All dimensional research must be conducted openly and shared with all species. No weapons based on dimensional technology. Safety protocols must be followed by everyone. Any discoveries that could harm reality itself must be immediately reported. All species must work together to understand and protect the dimensional barriers. We learned something important from our journey, Walker said, his voice carrying through the chamber. The universe isn't a thing to be conquered. It's a mystery to be understood. A dance to be danced. The aliens who first visited Earth were right about one thing. We were primitive. But being primitive meant we could see things with fresh eyes. The chamber erupted in applause, a sound that would have been unthinkable just months ago. Later, on the observation deck of the Quantum Dawn, the senior staff gathered to watch the sunset over this alien world. Hard to believe they were laughing at us not long ago, Stone said, shaking his head. Fear and arrogance often sound like laughter, Reed replied, checking some readings on her tablet. But look at them now, eager to learn, ready to work together. Sometimes being proven wrong is the best thing that can happen to someone. What's next for the Dawn? Dr. Gray asked, looking at their ship's reflection in the window. Walker smiled. We've been given a new mission. There are regions of space no one has ever truly explored, places where the dimensional barriers are thin. We'll be the first ship to chart these areas, with alien scientists aboard as part of our crew. And after that? Stone wondered. After that? Reed looked up from her tablet, her eyes bright with excitement. We keep learning, keep exploring, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. But this time, we do it together with the whole galaxy. As the alien sun set, casting rainbow colors through the dimensional barriers that only human eyes had truly learned to see, Captain Walker felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Humanity had done more than prove themselves. They had shown the galaxy a new way forward. The laughter had stopped, replaced by something far more valuable: respect, cooperation, and shared wonder at the mysteries still to be uncovered. And somewhere in the dimensional currents that flowed through reality, new discoveries waited for those wise enough to look for them with open minds and humble hearts. The end.